Hello, this is the March video chat with fans. Uh, First off, I promise things are happening. It's been a while since I've had a video, but uh, but I knew this was a risk from me taking a break and switching the process to hopefully get more out in the future. I think it's going to work out in the end, so that there'll be more total videos this year. But so far, obviously not. I have multiple videos. The audio is recorded, the footage is recorded. They're just other things involved. So, yeah, Freeman's Mind. I don't know which one's going to be next. They're kind of. I'm kind of either Freeman's Mind or the Game Dungeon. I have different people helping with different aspects of both. So it's going to be a longer Freeman's Mind episode, probably around 16 minutes. I don't remember exactly because I have to cut out some extra footage and put the credits in, but yeah, I have to figure out what I'm doing the episode after this one too. The ending is definitely what I wanted, but I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of it. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so that's the main announcement. Thanks for bearing with me. I really am working on things. And in the past, this is where people would think that I'm dead, pretty much. So I'm not. No, that's what these monthly video chats prove. Next announcement. I think I have solved the clicking sound that's been plaguing the video chats for God knows how long. And it's not just me. I made a post on this on Twitter, and Lazy Game Reviews replied saying he was having the same issue as driving him crazy. What it looks like was happening is, in order for OBS to function properly, it needs to have you basically need to have iTunes installed, or rather packages that come with iTunes. And for encoding to the AAC format, now, OBS comes with its own that works, but apparently what it comes with is defective. You really need Apple's AAC encoding installer package. There are instructions on it on my Twitter, Curse Farms. You can scroll down there, but I think that was the issue. So you'd think that one of the most common streaming programs out there would not have such a fundamental issue, of just constant clicking sounds. But so far that seems to have solved the problem. So, yeah, this also has fully convinced me that the micro stutter I see when recording in OBS, for game footage is real. It's 100% real. Now, it makes me wonder how widespread that is, whether that's just a my system thing or just a lot of people's systems or everyone and nobody's really done the testing on it thing, but I don't know. So, yeah, clicking should be gone. So my apologies it took me so long to get around to that. So if you're listening to this, hopefully it's less grating. Let's see, another announcement. Oh yeah, I'm changing things up a bit for the movie. I've been talking with that's some of what I've been working on. The technical process. Epic announced this plugin or utility or something for Unreal that's going to be released called Metahuman. And apparently they're really taking the bull by the horns for trying to come up with tools where people can generate rigged talking characters, human models, which is exactly what I'm going to need for the movie. However, after looking at it, I can tell this is definitely not in the safe area of the uncanny valley. Like, it's going to throw people off. So I still plan to use that software right now. It sounds like it might be better than the alternatives, but I'm probably going to have to demake the models a little bit, kind of make them look a little crappier, so we're free of the uncanny valley effect. Because I mean that's something big budget Hollywood productions can suffer from. There's no the animation quality, while I hope to make it as good as I can, it's not going to be perfect. So we'll have to demake those a little bit. Yeah, so I was saying they wouldn't trust Epic as far as we have a double negative maybe here. I wouldn't trust Epic as far as I could throw them. So yeah. Well, actually, I guess it's technically not a double negative, but the meaning is switched around. But you know what? One thing that's great about Epic, especially coming from Source in the past, is you can just download old versions and run them. And if they break something in a future update, well, then you don't have to use that version. That is huge. You know, Source Engine was not like that. I think Steam added something later where you can revert to previous versions of games and software, but I don't think it was always in there. I'm not sure. And what? Yeah, I mean, for Epic, I'm fully supporting Epic as far as their engine. You know, like, I really think they're making an effort to have a good engine. So as for their storefront, I just kind of see them as just another, you know, my metric for game stores as to what, like, whether I can, like, kind of support them or not is, well, I mean, the games, I'll still buy from other stores, but is, you know, do you get to keep your game? You know, as in, if the service were to just die, could you still run the game? And for both Steam and Epic, the answer is sometimes. You know, for GOG, I think Itch and Indiegala, the answer is always yes. Both Steam, Epic, Origin, I'm not sure about Uplay. The answer is always maybe. It depends on the game. So it's oh wow, somebody's putting Origin above Epic Game Store. That's harsh. Maybe, I don't know. I only have a few games in Origin. But yeah, but it's I was interested in Epic and the engine before the Epic Game Store existed, so that's where I'm going. I'll still throw my weight behind the Unreal Engine over the Source Engine as far as usability, just any day. So, but yeah, you can you can debate the store qualities. Oh yeah, and I have one more announcement that I found this out literally just yesterday. Paul Morgan Stetler, also known as Curtis Craig from Phantasmagoria 2, emailed me. He's going to be starting a series. Apparently the 25th anniversary of the game is coming up, and he's going to reach out to everyone he can that was involved with it, like the writer, director, other actors, and he's going to make this like an ongoing chat series starting in April through the rest of the year. So I wanted to give him some promotion on that. I'm going to try and contact a couple other sources to see if we can get more for him on that. I'll link to his, when this goes up on YouTube, I'll link to his Facebook and YouTube channel. So yeah, he's, yeah, if you wanted more extras on Phantasmagoria 2, it sounds like he's really going to resurrect it. Okay. Yeah, Frankenstein there or something. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you know, when I was typing my reply to him, I was thinking, wow, this is kind of like writing. It's like sending the reply emails in the game, except I'm actually contacting him. Like, I'm contacting the real Curtis Craig on the other end. So that was an interesting feeling when I was replying to him. So, oh yeah, and just so you know, I did a game dungeon on Phantasmagoria 2. That was probably the most buried because I didn't feel like censoring it, so it's adult rated, which means it's completely buried under YouTube. You won't find it doing a general YouTube search. You have to go like into the channel, but yeah, it's so yeah, I just saw that yesterday, so we had good timing. I can mention it on the chat. It's going to be starting early April is what he said, so yeah, it sounds like it's going to be an ongoing thing because there are a lot of people involved. So yeah, He's aged pretty well. I mean, too. It's like he looks and sounds exactly the same. It's just has more wrinkles. That's it. Like, I mean, it's almost like having a it's almost like having a sequel to Phantasmagoria 2, except here we're just kind of casually talking with Curtis. Which works really well because you had moments like that in the game. It wasn't all insanity. So this is like the chill after game talk. So. All right, so yeah, okay. I guess I'll get to questions. I think those all I had for announcements. Yeah, sorry about the delay on the videos and everything, but things are happening. I'll say that. So, okay, the first question. Oh yeah, I may. I think I might try to go through like the first 10, and then I'll just pick and choose because these keep going on so long that I kind of want to crunch the time down. We'll see how effective I am at that. Let's see. Let me move things around so I can see the chat. Oh yeah. First question: favorite shotgun in all of gaming? Well, I definitely have an answer, although this might add to the appeal of this. That this might be a hard one to access. My favorite one has to be the SPAS 12 in the mod Desert Crisis. It was like the 1.0 version. It was this real over-the-top mod for Half-Life. More like a total conversion. It was mostly a multiplayer game. And that thing, it just blew people away with it. That was a game where they just threw everything into there. Like, they would have perks and all these different weapons. You could have the pulse rifle from Aliens. You have Uzis, akimbo pistols. You could also do martial arts where you have like a katana sword, or I can't remember if you had throwing stars or not. I mean, even though the game's just called Desert Crisis, which sounds like pretty mundane, it was very over the top with all the action and stuff you could do. And I have fond memories of like this guy doing you could do wall jumps if you had perks and real acrobatics. So like the people doing just martial arts could like move faster than the people with guns. And so I remember him coming at me, from a distance, but he's moving really fast, does a wall jump, jumps off the wall, does this forward somersault, is ready to come down on my head with a katana, and I could just go boom. And then, like, not only did I kill him, but it sent him, he was flying towards me, it sent him flying right back through the air. So they ended up nerfing it later, but that shotgun was extremely satisfying to use, I remember. I guess the runner-up, but again, you'd have to hunt down like the 1.0 or whatever the early version is of the mod. Yeah, that game had all sorts of Easter eggs in it too. Like there were some that like you could trigger a flying couch. You had to go through this elaborate process, and then the couch would play like the safety dance song. And I remember in another level they had they had like music playing, and I was curious what it was from, and all the clips were from it was all the score to the Boondock Saints movie. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was a real wacky mod, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think you could choose how much armor you wanted to, and that would slow you down more if you could be more of a sniper. That very flexible with how you wanted to play the game. But I think my runner-up would probably be more easily accessible shotgun. Probably the one from Fear. I mean, I remember that one having some real stopping power behind it. I mean, boom, 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 like at semi-close range, and it would drop the fully armored guys coming to get you. Although I'm a little bit behind on first-person shooters. I haven't played a lot of newer ones. So, I mean, the chat can suggest some that are the chat can suggest if there are any that are better. Someone tried to tell them shotgun from Fear sucks. Well, the thing is, even Fear's shotgun, I want to say it's extremely rare that a game shotgun actually behaves like a real shotgun. So I'm saying Metal Slug shotgun. Well, that's not really a first person shooter, is it? Metal Slug's the platformer, isn't it? Okay, I haven't played Doom Eternal, so the yeah, it's weird. I'm kind of biased against the newer Doom games just because I didn't like all. It felt like the glory kill, like the melee kills, were like mandatory, and Postal 2 secret shotgun. I don't remember that. There you go. So I'm saying the Half-Life 2 shotgun. I think Fears might have had a little more. I don't know. I haven't done a comparison. Yeah, Dusk I have played as the dual shotguns. Doom Eternal is a MOBA, not FPS. Yeah, it doesn't. Like, I mean, how playable is Doom Eternal if you just want to play it like a first-person shooter and use things that shoot? You know, and I mean, I don't know, like with melee stuff, I'm not crazy about like, it depends. I'm usually not crazy about like first person melee with all the cameras shaking. And in that case, like seeing the same animation over and over again. Okay, Wolfenstein New Order shotgun. I have played New Order, but I don't remember it. So I guess it was. I mean, I remember the game. I don't remember the shotgun standing out. So I guess it was Fear. It really felt like. It felt like there was some real fire behind it. Doom Eternal is more of a Devil May Cry game than FPS. See, New Doom is a dance of blood and bullets. Well, see, there are first-person shooters that are kind of a dance. I mean, that's not the problem. It's just that, like, it just seemed like they really want you to do the melee kills. And I don't know, that wasn't... Yeah, I like shooting in my first-person shooters. I'm much more looking forward to Serious Sam 4 for my style of shooter. But even for one, although I don't mind ones that are like a little more, maybe not completely realistic, because you know complete realism, you're taking 1 or 2 shots max. But what ones where you do a lot of damage, but so do the enemies, so you have to like be more careful and tactical. I don't mind those either. But okay, I'll move on to more questions. Let's see. So that's one. Have you ever found yourself wanting to quit a game simply for being unable to empathize with the player character's goals or motivations? I'm thinking probably not really, because usually if I can quit a game because of the writing of the story, but usually it's like the whole thing together, not just the character I'm playing. And this isn't what they were asking, but this reminded me of a friend of mine. I can't remember if it was Aliens versus Predator 1 or 2, but I remember he was getting really frustrated playing as the Marines because he said like his character was an idiot when he wasn't controlling it. Like, you know, like he would be like he kept getting frustrated at the cutscenes with like the character just ended up being so reckless and just kind of digging his own grave. I remember that bug. See, somebody's saying Life is Strange. Well, see, that wasn't really the issue with Life is Strange. It's Max was just kind of there. You know, she wasn't like standing out to me particularly in any way, so she wasn't really a problem. It's just that the game itself, the options they were giving me, it wasn't resonating. And then these other characters just felt kind of forced and off. And so it was sort of the whole thing total. Like Max herself wasn't the issue. So it was just the thing as a whole. But yeah, it's if you looked into the game Ultra Kill, no, I haven't. I either haven't heard of it, or if it's on my list, I forgot the name of it. That's why I have my list, you know. Man, there would be. I want to say if you know like the game list I have on the website, I want to say I would miss probably hundreds of games if I just had to rely on remembering the title. Like I don't even remember the titles of half the ones that were in the game list video. That's why I have the list so I can just go and check. Oh yeah, that one. So, let's see. Yeah, but Life is Strange saying the characters are so bad. Yeah, it just wasn't resonating. Okay, so let's see. Next question. You often say that you like playing games for escapism. What do you think about games that put you in stressful situations or moral dilemmas or even in the middle of atrocities? Some examples are Spec Ops The Line, This War of Mine, Hatred, etc. Well, out of those, I have played Spec Ops The Line. That one was a mix. I'm still undecided if I want to make a game that genre or not. I guess Spec Ops The Line, it's like part of it, they were trying to be like a more serious war drama, and then the rest of it may as well be a scene out of Rambo. You know, I mean, like the later Rambos, where it's just like, okay, let's have this real dramatic scene. Now let's just get and gun down 100 soldiers rushing at us behind a sentry gun nest. I mean, so it was like, well, it's that kind of undercuts the serious tone for me. I liked the idea of like near future events that have happened. You know, like Dubai's. Yeah, like I forget if the game explained it or if I just missed it. Like I've been interested in knowing more of like what happened to Dubai, that it's like a modern ruin and that sort of thing. So I like kind of near future geopolitical stuff. This War of Mine, I'm probably not going to play that one. I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like it's trying to like drive home just how awful war is. And yeah, like the question said, I prefer games for escapism. So, I mean, I'm sure it's a good game. A lot of people mention it's just not the kind I would want to play, you know? I mean, yeah, it's not that I have a game. It's not that I have a problem with games where you're trying to survive and horrible things happening to people. It's just that I kind of want a tone differently. We were mentioning Epic. One of the games that went free, I think last week on Epic, was Sunless Sea. And I'm pretty sure horrible things are going to happen to your crew in that game. But, you know, tone-wise, it's not going to be like dwelling. It's going to be more lighthearted, you know, kind of not dwelling on the tragedy and like how people. It's going to take a more comical approach, I think. So, or like mysterious and crazy approach rather than like maximum sadness kind of approach, you know? So, I mean, it's a valid thing. It's just not really why I play games. It's really not really what I'm seeking in general. I mean, I was thinking, same goes for like movies and books, and that's just not what I'm after, you know? I mean, I think that sort of thing can be helpful if people are like unaware of how bad a situation is. Like if you're trying to tie it back to real world things, and they need to have it spelled out for them, then yeah, that can be extremely useful. But you know, it's what it, I don't need convincing on a lot of situations that they're as bad as people say they are. You know. Yeah, and Hatred, that one. I saw the trailer. It looked like Postal without the humor, and it just, I don't know. That's, I feel like you really need the humor for Postal to work, and it didn't seem like something I would want to get into. I'm thinking of the original Postal. I think it was in the expansion where you go into a Walmart or something. It's saying, "What? You don't have Postal? You don't sell Postal?" So All right, keep moving on to questions. In the top 25 most anticipated games, you said that the longest amount of time you had not slept is 52 hours. What was the story behind that? I say, and do you have plans to do most anticipated games part 2 or something similar? Well, I guess for the first question, I don't remember all the details. It was in high school. I think I was just doing tons of work to get a project done and all this other homework. And I can't remember. So I was just kind of working around the clock to finish. You know, the advanced placement AP classes in high school were harder than anything I had in college, except maybe 400 level classes. So you know, senior year of college, okay, they were about on that level. So they were, I think they went a little overkill. Most of the other college classes I had were easier than the AP stuff in high school. And I can't remember if Quake 3 was involved with part of that spree too, but if so, I was probably, even then, it's not as much as you might think, because I probably got into these situations where I had time for 1 or 2 hours of sleep, or I could just stay up and play Quake. And so it's like, well, if I'm only getting 1 or 2 hours, that might even feel worse than getting none at all. So, I mean, once you pass a certain threshold. But yeah, so I was saying AP is a scam. Well, maybe. I mean, the credits can transfer over to college. So, but yeah, I mean, I would live life differently if I was doing it over again. When you consider how much I took school much more seriously than I should have, especially for what I ended up doing. So, let's see. Oh yeah, and the other question, I'm probably not going to do a most anticipated games part 2, because I'm just getting. That was kind of the idea behind the games list. It's just it's too overwhelming now with how many games are coming out. I mean, it's just nonstop, like this torrent of them. So I mean, I'd have to pick to go through all of them. I mean, I just throw up the ones that seem like borderline promising to me on the games list section of the website now. So, I mean, and there are hundreds of titles on there. So it's like, I don't think I can keep up. I mean, oh yeah, this is the one okay, this person is saying that they're a fan of secrets in games or Easter eggs. Off the top of your head, do you remember any secrets that you particularly enjoyed finding? Well, actually, those Easter eggs in Desert Crisis were good. But yeah, I mean, if you went through the whole process, on one level you could ride a flying couch while Safety Dance was playing. I mean, this isn't the best secret by any means, but one that just jumped to mind was in Serious Sam 2. I went down this alley, and it's like secret ninja, and like the AI voice says like secret ninja chicken has been found, and like you see, I think it's like you see a dead chicken with like a shuriken in it, and that's dressed up with like a ninja, if I'm remembering this right. But there's loads in Serious Sam. I can think of my favorite secret level, but I kind of want to hold back on that one because that one might make it into a game dungeon. I'm trying to think of some other good secrets. No, I guess I like the secret ending with the dog for Silent Hill 2. Let's see. Yeah, somebody's mentioning Talos Principle. I saw some of them, but like I remember the Nars statue. I put that one together. It's unfortunately it's kind of a blur for me with games. See, I don't even find all the secrets because some of them you really have to hunt for. Like I need to. I think going back and doing the game dungeon, I didn't find all of them, but I checked the walkthrough because when I did Sin, I wanted to like really see if I could find all the secrets. I think I found most, but yeah. Well, actually, that was one in Sin episodes. The oh snap, we beat Duke Nukem Forever twice. That one was a secret. I'm sure there's much better ones, but yeah. Well, as people are asking about Half-Life, Freeman's Mind too. Well, just next episode's it's coming out. A lot of it's recorded, so the video's all recorded. I guess I didn't live up. I screwed up and didn't live up to my promise. I'm not done 100% with the voice work on Freeman's Mind 2. I am on a game dungeon. It's mostly done though. But let's see. Well, I think we've established at this point that I generally do what I'm saying I'm going to do, except time estimates, and my ambition tends to undo me there. So yeah, don't. You can trust my intent, but you can't trust the results on my time estimates. Okay, let's see. Another one. Do you still enjoy making Freeman's Mind, or do you just make it now for our sake? Well, I'll be honest. There are other videos I'd rather work on, I think, instead of it. But I feel kind of obligated to keep going on it. So I don't hate doing it, but it's just it's like you have to do this before you do this other task. So I kind of want to make good on it. I mean, I felt pretty obligated after doing the Begathon, because that just basically that was a pretty significant event in my life, pretty much. You guys definitely changed the course of how my life went with the donations from that Begathon. So I kind of want to make good on that. Well, I did make good on that, but I felt like I was letting people down by stopping at one after a while. So again, I hope to pick up the pace soon. It's retooling. Changing my process to have more people involved, but I knew there was going to be more of an initial delay. So thanks for sticking with me, or not, and just wait till the new video comes out. I am totally fine with people who just stop watching me for like 6 months or a year or something, come back and let them stack up. That's fine. I do that with some YouTube channels. Dota Cinema recently moved their podcast to a secondary channel because of how the YouTube algorithm take their channel, because they use shorter videos. Have you experienced something similar to your YouTube channel's reach after you started posting your video chats on YouTube? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't monitored. Honestly, ever since I did the Begathon, I haven't monitored the YouTube statistics super thoroughly, because all they did was stress me out. And like if you're even like a little bit lower than you were last time, YouTube, like the first thing you do when you go into the control panel is like put that in big letters, like, oh, this video isn't performing as well as last time. Like, don't tell me, like, not all the videos are going to perform equally, It's but it likes to rub it in your face about it. So I haven't noticed a big shift. You guys could probably notice even more than I would, because you could see how different the view count is. Like, I noticed the views were a lot lower for the Aida's Strange Christmas than Sin, but I figured that might have to do with the choice of game. I can understand, because the graphics are more amateurish on that. Not everybody's into the adventure games, whereas Sin is more of a kind of a like off the beaten road first person shooter classic. So I expected that one would get more. I like having a variety with the videos. And I also expected the Dream software to not get as many views too. So I haven't noticed, but I can believe it. Although one thing is, I don't stream these broadcasts on YouTube. I just post the broadcast afterwards. So maybe that makes a difference on the metric with how the algorithm works than if I were streaming on YouTube directly. Okay, more questions. EA's recent cancellation of Anthem's reboot caused them to remove their requirement that Dragon Age 4 would be a live service, and BioWare has hinted that it's now being developed as a traditional plain single-player game. A small victory against games as a service. They want to know if I watched or read anything good lately. Excuse me. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't assume yes. I guess best case scenario, which I'm not optimistic on, is the industry is kind of maybe not seeing live services as the answer to everything that every game needs to have, and maybe backing away from it now that they're maybe getting long-term data on it. That would be great. And it's sort of like a fad that was kind of going through the industry that's dying down. That would be great. However, I don't assume that. So, yeah, like the comments, God, let BioWare rest in peace already. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's I haven't been monitoring a lot of the new game releases to see how many require online. Well, Godfall I know is requiring one, so again, I'm a little bit behind on like everything new that's coming out, but let's see, watched anything good lately? I'm trying to remember if there was. I can't remember if I think I haven't. I watched a few movies, but I don't think I saw anything that was that good. Hold on, I'm checking to see what the name of one of them was. Yeah, I guess it's nothing that great. Reading books, I read one that was all right. Let's see, Oath of Fealty. It's about an arcology built in, like, well, it's sort of retro future because some of the new technology was dated, but built in Los Angeles, where it's basically its own kind of separate, self-contained city, and it sort of looks at the dynamics of that. I thought it was if something like this were to exist, I thought it was a very plausible take on it. So, and right now I'm reading one that was given to me as a Christmas present, The Three-Body Problem. I'm not sure what the plot is yet. I'm about 70 or 80 pages in, but it's something with about physics as we understand it really breaking down, or there's more to it than that, but it's still kind of vague on details. It's kind of presenting it in a mysterious way. So, let's see. Yeah, I guess not a lot this month. I kind of played more games between the last couple months, but the best one. I'm trying to think of like the better ones. I went through a lot of them, but some of them weren't that great. Several of them were. One that was amazing that I kind of gave up on the gameplay about halfway through the game and just watched a playthrough for the rest of it. But the writing and presentation was great all the way through. Was Yuppie Psycho. It's kind of it's a pixel art game. The plot is basically you're a new intern starting work at this basically a corporation from hell, and it has all this occult stuff going on too. It definitely has a sense of humor to it. Music's fantastic, great atmosphere. The gameplay was getting kind of irritating for me about halfway through though. So, but yeah, I'd recommend watching a playthrough of it if you're not into the game. Yeah, actually, I was thinking a while back. People are asking like use of if I like the saxophone. The soundtrack to this has use of saxophone I like. I'll say that. So, let's see. What's another one? Well, I played. I got to the last level of Aquanox. That's an older one. It's basically the kind of like a underwater kind of what would be flight sim kind of shooter thing. Uh, I was enjoying it. I mean, I made it to the last level. I got to see the final boss, but then they had all these objectives of things I was supposed to protect. And I was thinking, I played this far, and I just watched the ending of that one. I have like low tolerance. If I feel like the game's just kind of wasting my time or wants me to like repeat something like 10 times and I'm not enjoying the process, I just bail now. I still need to play the newer ones. There's Aquanox 2 and a newer one, Deep Descent. Aquanox is a game that feels like it would really benefit from a bigger budget. So, let's see. Also played, the Aquatic Adventures of the Last Human, which is a Metroid-ish game except you control a sub. It was okay. The ending got really depressing. That's another one where I made it to the final boss and decided, nope, I'm not doing this. That can be a trend with me in some games. Slain was like that. I played through Slain all the way to the final boss. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So, yeah, I played one that was kind of okay. I gave up on it maybe 2/3 of the way in, but where it was just kind of I could do it. It was just wasn't. It was getting irritating. It's called Phoning Home, and the best way I could describe it would be like if you've seen the movie WALL-E. It would be like if the WALL-E robot crashed on a different planet, and it's kind of a crafting game to get your ship repaired and get out of there. Has some plot twist. It was all right. But the gameplay ended up getting kind of irritating the deeper you got. Because it has everyone's favorite mechanic, escort missions. And the whole thing turns into like a giant escort mission towards the end. So it wasn't. So I ended up watching the ending to that. Let's see. And then there was a few others. I tried some that I kind of gave up on after about 40 minutes or so. That they were just sort of DayZ clones that didn't have a lot going for them, in my opinion. One was The Fifth Day. These are all games I got just stupid cheap, so it's not a big tragedy. What was the name of that other one? I don't remember. Okay. Should move on. Okay, I think this person emailed me. They're saying an artist and see if they could do any art for me. Yeah, I think I still need to reply to them. I'm still behind on emails. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll try and reply to this guy later. Half my problem is just managing everything. Like I'm good at managing if that's all I'm doing, but as soon as if I'm managing and doing a lot of other roles, then it tends to. I had the image in my head of like a car going and just parts falling off as you're going. A lot of my work can feel like that. What are some of the biggest problems a floppy disk has ever caused you? Well, nothing too dramatic. It's just the disk wouldn't work. It would. Like, if you're installing a game and then you get to disk 5 out of 7 and 5, it is busted. It's gone bad. So you're not playing your game. I mean, actually, I guess the biggest one was what I mentioned with the Halloween sampler, the first game I bought. Castlevania for Commodore 64. The disc was bad, so I couldn't play the game. And I didn't have an understanding that you could return things. Well, actually, you may not have been able to because it was a computer game. And computer games for the longest time, you could not get refunded. That's something that didn't happen until, I want to say, like what, late 2000s or something? Though I guess they might have been all right with an exchange, but I would have had to go back there, and I got it at a shop in the mall when I went with my parents, and my parents might not be going back to the mall anytime soon. So, but there's also that thing where they would just do the read forever error that you could see at least like later on they would tell you that there's an error and would give up. In early days, it would just try and read it forever. So you weren't sure if it was just taking forever to load the game or if the disc went bad. And I don't know if he ever went through on this, but a friend of mine I remember was talking about for floppy disk problems, doing some sabotage where he was talking about like taking apart the floppy disk and like putting like strike on anything match heads into it and then putting it together again and then just putting it to a computer that was off someplace and just leaving it there. So basically, I don't know if he went through with that, but the idea would be if somebody turned it on, then basically the computer starts catching on fire. So yeah, don't do that. But I don't think a lot of people are going to do that because floppy's pretty much phased out except for like just real niche uses now. So yeah, don't rig computers to catch things on fire. Let's see. How did you and Lazy Game Reviews meet? I honestly don't remember. However, I think it might have been when I did the follow-up episode for Test Drive 3, like so many comments were about like how I had the steering wrong and because I set the speed wrong. And that like got me to look up like where that was coming from. And I watched that episode carefully to see, well, it's like, no, he didn't say that it isn't bad. He's just saying this is the sanctioned way to run it. You know, it's crappy. The steering for that game is crappy at any speed. So, yeah. The chat has it. Ross doesn't want you getting charged with arson. Don't do it. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good official stance to take. You know. Let's see. So I honestly don't remember if I reached out to him later or maybe I emailed them from that. I don't remember. So I could probably find out on Gmail. I'm probably getting to 10 questions. I don't know, but I can answer this. What are your thoughts on board games? Do you have the same problem with them that you have with turn-based games? Well, in the old days, didn't really have, or at least I didn't really have computer games for part of my childhood, so board games have been one of the best options around. Yeah, it can be a little irritating, but it's not as bad because then you can at least talk to people, like when it's somebody else's turn and do other things. So it's less like just strictly waiting on the other side. But okay, yeah, I should move on. What would your ideal I didn't know how to answer this one. What would your ideal alternative to YouTube look like? I don't know. There's so many variables to juggle with that. I mean, because the thing is, maybe the chat knows, is YouTube, is that still their stance that they're not turning a profit? They're just existing as a subsidiary of Google or Alphabet, and they see this as like something that works out to them beneficially? Because if it's still not turning a profit, man, that's with them taking a 45% cut on the videos. So, okay, someone's saying no, they are. Are they finally turning a profit, or I don't know. Because, man, well, I guess what that says to me is, yeah, it's a mix because on one hand, you want anybody to be able to post what they want, but on the other, like, you really do run into resource restraints the farther on you go. Yeah, like I mentioned the demonetization video. I don't know how they just keep doing it off into infinity with storage. I mean, so I guess you would need. Okay, so they're saying nearly 10 billion was profit. Well, if they're making $10 billion, then I guess they have that figured out. But okay, Green Tangerine saying they don't disclose YouTube's profits, and that was based off speculation from business insiders. Yeah, they will start deleting older videos. Yeah, I mean, I think that might be what they'd have to do to some extent. Like, what I was thinking, here's what I thought would be a sane compromise, which means they'll probably be a lot worse than this. But I was thinking, like, okay, let's say we're just getting way too much, we're just hosting way too much footage to be able to keep up with this in terms of resources. So what I would do is like a starting thing is say, okay, let's say if a video is older than like X years and it has no views and the creator doesn't like hit a button to keep it up. So in other words, yeah, I think I mentioned in one earlier video chat, I saw a comment of some guy saying he just uploads videos of himself eating lunch every day. Like, okay, so let's say nobody views that for like 3 years or 5 years, and he gets a notice saying this is going to be deleted unless you manually say you want to keep this video up. I think that might be okay because then people could still have a chance to like rip the video, and that would be like a first phase of it that I think would be a good compromise. So if it's still getting views, fine, it stays up. If the person who uploaded wants to keep it up there, fine, it still stays up. So that could probably clear out a lot of space right there. But after that, man, I don't know what you do. But what if you delete potential memes? Well, then you better hope somebody finds it, in time, or the creator wants to keep it up. I guess you can kind of keep the view threshold increasing after that. But yeah, I mean, it's tricky because it's like, how do you deal with infinitely increasing archive of videos? You go against infinity, you're going to lose, I think. So yeah, I'm afraid I don't have a good answer for that. Oh yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the industry heavily relying on post-processed graphics lately? In particular, the weak anti-aliasing solutions due to adopted deferred rendering. This is literally going to be brought up in the next Game Dungeon episode. Not this question, but that part. So a bit of a spoiler there. And the limitations that come with screen space techniques like ambient occlusion that disappears around foreground characters or missing reflections around edges of the screen. Yeah, it's is that? Well, that sounds more like a deferred rendering thing. I'm not. Are reflections really a post-process thing? I think they still need to pull the data from the scene. Maybe it depends on how they do it, but yeah, that got me thinking. In general, I don't like it, but I like motion blur in like fast games, like racing stuff. I was trying to think. I had to stop and think. What post-processing effects do I actually like? And I was really stumped. Depth of field can be okay if you're like looking through a scope or like binoculars or something. Then that can look all right. Okay, so I'm saying bloom. I guess bloom. Okay, I guess bloom's okay if you use it really tastefully, like if there's an explosion or you're looking at the sun or something. See, someone's saying pretty much not. I'm having trouble thinking of which ones. I mean, no, if you're looking directly at the sun, I could see where bloom could be all right. You kind of want to blast that out then. Uh, but see, the thing is, most of these effects, it's like you could do just as good, if not better, job just in the map itself having better source lighting. It's like, and you can do anything with games and lighting just about. So it's, I mean, generally, obviously you need ray tracing for really advanced stuff, but I don't know, like, so, yeah, somebody's saying tinting. Yeah, I hate tinting. I mean, I'm thinking like the only time I've been like, all right with tinting is if like the screen flashes red when you get shot or something. And even then I don't like it. However, that serves a useful function because it's like waking you up that you got shot. I mean, I guess you can do all sorts of stuff in cutscenes. Yeah, somebody's saying they hate vignette. Funny thing about vignette, the first time I saw that in a game was in Mass Effect. And back then, I think I was still on a CRT. I literally thought something was going wrong with my monitor. I think it was on a CRT. I can't remember. But I was like, oh my God, like, is it failing up? Is my monitor dying? And then I realized it was the vignette effect. Yeah, film grain, I always turn that off. The chromatic aberration, that one's, some people hate that one. That one I'm kind of neutral on. I don't really like it, but it's, what? If you, I'll grab this question. I just noticed it. If VR gets really, really good, do you see VR addiction becoming a big problem? I think a big problem, no, but I could see it becoming a problem. I remember reading some posts from some guys saying he fell asleep in VR playing Elite Dangerous. So when he woke up, he was still in Elite Dangerous and he started freaking out for a few seconds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is like an art director problem or if this is like a game producer problem. Because, hey, like in Sin, it was the producers calling the shots and making the music worse. But, I'm sure it's been said a million times, games are not movies. So a lot of things that make sense for film do not make sense for a game you're going to be spending a dozen hours or more actively playing and staring at, Yeah, here's a question for the chat. Like, what game has the best use of chromatic aberration, not just as a special effect? Like, because like sometimes you're playing, like it's a game you might be playing like where you're a robot and you get shot or something, so then you see the chromatic aberration. See, that's a good use of it. Like that's it's like you're distorting the camera processing. What's one where it's just always on that like, oh wow, this actually looks better with, I don't know. I mean, maybe a game like that exists, but yeah, what was it? Growl's Taken. They have it right. What's ironic is these post-processed effects try to emulate limitations, defects of real cameras, which makes don't emulate the camera. I mean, emulate your eyes, that always bugged me in depth of field for stuff in the distance. Like I'm already like nearsighted in one eye. I don't need to see that in the game. No, like let me see the background. I mean, if that's what I say. A lot of these effects, they're actually all right in cutscenes. Like, oh, all right, we're having like a, okay, we have depth of field in the background, sure, or the, I don't think I don't know why film grain helps. Even vignette, I don't really like that. I think the only time I like the vignette effect is if we're trying to make it look like this is like old-timey, like 1920s footage or something, or what was it? Or we're trying to make this look like really gritty, like this, you know, the I it actually worked in its favor. I originally saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at this theater college campus, and they had a really crappy like version of the reel. Like this thing had just been played probably like 1,000 times. It was kind of scratched up. Parts of it were a little blurry and shit, and it only helped the effect. Like it just, if you're really trying to go for this gritty look, then it be okay. But again, we have to remember games are not movies. You're staring much more intently and trying to focus on things in a game, and all these little effects, while they might sound nice and look nice in like a 30-second trailer, that gets irritating when you're doing it for hours. Whereas a movie, you can sort of passively, uh, absorb it, and it's only going to last like 2 hours about. So it's your focus level is going to be a lot higher on games because the game requires you to make these decisions, and whereas for passive entertainment you can kind of get away with more effects. So yeah, okay. Well, somebody likes the depth of field and scar. I I have zero problems with all these effects if you can turn them off. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to think of ones I. Oh yeah, that was another game I played. That this one was okay. Like it wasn't the best game, but it was kind of, it had a high hookability rating. Positron X. Although God, that one has post processing just coming out of its eyeballs. Like you can only turn off a little bit of it. Uh, it that one might be one of the worst offenders I've seen, but it was sort of like a roguelike first person shooter. I beat that one. Uh, the ending's nothing special at all. I mean, I guess you see the boss, but it's a good. Yeah. Ever since I saw that in that Zap magazine, it's like hookability. Yeah, I like having that as a rating for the game. But yeah, it's definitely like a game you can play to like just kind of kill short bursts of time. Okay, I still need to play Max Payne 3. I've only played the first two. Although honestly, after I saw the ending of Max Payne 2, I remember thinking there doesn't need to be another Max Payne after this. But okay, so I'll get to some more questions. Yeah, this is a good one. What are your favorite underwater locations in video games? The open ocean is such a fascinating concept that I can't believe there aren't hundreds of ocean exploration games already. And they mentioned Subnautica. Well, Subnautica was probably the winner. I mean, geez, that's a hard one. That's just one of my all-time favorites, I think. Well, I played Aquanox. It was all right. I still need to play Aquanox 2 and Deep Descent. Maybe I like the idea of like that setting. I thought it was a great setting. Just having, and Aquanox is a sequel actually, which I didn't realize at the time, to Archimedean Dynasty, though it looked basically like the same thing. Let's see, what are some other underwater? Well, actually, I kind of gave up. This is another game I got just dirt cheap, and I gave up on it pretty quickly. It was called Far Sky, and it's like the flea market version of Subnautica, is what I would describe it. You there's you it's pretty similar. You go around collecting resources, build things, and try to get out of the ocean of it. But I felt like I had kind of seen everything within the first 5 to 10 minutes, and so I went and watched a playthrough of it. And it's like, yeah, I pretty much had. So, what are some other? Somebody recommended an underwater game to me in an email, though I forgot the name of it. Maybe I can pull that up quick. Let's see. I have a lot of emails I need to respond to. Maybe someday I'll get on top of these. I still feel like I really do want to reply to the vast majority of these. Oh wait, let's see. Yeah, okay, here it is. Subculture was the game somebody recommended. Oh yeah, somebody's mentioning Abzu. I still need to play that. Yeah, I grabbed that when it was free on Epic. Yeah, I'm not too proud or paranoid. Well, yeah, I'm not too proud to not take the free games on Epic Store. I was about to say too paranoid, but we don't know exactly what they're collecting off of you. So, you know, it's like the saying, you're not paranoid if they are out to get you. So yeah, it could be the more paranoid people on that are right. I'm not terribly worried with the data Epic's probably stealing from me. They're not going to get any great secrets out of it. But yeah, no, I love like kind of underwater setting stuff. Yeah, that's why Subnautica really kind of took it to the next level too, because it was an alien ocean. Because even though there's all kinds of, you know, really exotic life on the ocean floor, it's like they can just take it to the next level because it's on an alien planet, so they don't need that. They can make it even weirder, you know. So they have to follow the rules. So yeah, don't feel afraid to copy Subnautica, the setting wise, you know. But yeah, I like the underwater as a set. I still need to play. What was it? I think it's called Submarine Titans. It's like a strategy game. That's just an isometric one. So Submarine Titans. I think that's a strategy. That's one I've been meaning to play for a while. So, but yeah, it's a great setting. I mean, okay, this person's saying their spouse has type 1 diabetes, and she has a continuous glucose monitor. It's a small device that's attached to the skin. It has a sensor embedded under the skin. It constantly gathers data. I think that's going to evolve into new technologies where perhaps many different nutrients can be tracked in the body over time for health and performance purposes. Assuming the creators aren't doing malicious things with the data, what do you think of such technologies? Would you use them? Well, I mean, it sounds like a great development, especially for some people who are like a little more on the edge. Although, you know, thinking cynically, this could be the sort of thing where they get the process down and it ends up costing like $3 to manufacture, but it costs like $8,000 in order for you to get it without insurance, that sort of thing. I mean, there are markups like that in the medical industry. Well, yeah, that's what was it Martin Shkreli, if you say his name, he marked up. I think it was like this. I think it was like a diabetic drug or maybe insulin or something for like just a ridiculous amount, or maybe it was a HIV drug. I forget, but there's always the risk of that happening. When I use them, I kind of wouldn't want something that's like under my skin all the time. I mean, I guess we'd have to talk to. I guess for people in the chat who have subdermal implants, I guess how much does it bother you? Because people can have those cosmetically. I'd be fine though with something where you put your hand there. I guess it'd be tricky to get it sterile, but like it gives you like a pinprick or gets us like a real tiny sample of your blood. I'd be all right with that, and then it could tell you like if you're low on certain vitamins or something, you should be eating this, that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think I'd want it under my skin like all the time though. But yeah, pinprick test, sure, that would be fine. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, stuff that makes it easier to be healthier. If you just know that you're deficient on some vitamin, you should eat some of this. Like, oh, okay, you can do that. Then you have less problems later. Okay. Yeah, this question was rough. They're asking like, how did I manage and organize my spending budget for groceries, rent, electricity, water when I was in college, and what advice would you give to someone who has started living independently on somewhat below average income? Okay, okay. Oh, that's more than I thought. I thought they were saying like 500 or 600 a month. I was thinking, geez, that's rough. But they're saying per fortnight, so it's like double that. Uh, yeah, yeah. For any younger people in the audience, the term fortnight usually means about 2 weeks. So they may have a different, and it's spelled differently than what you may be used to. uh, yeah, I mean, the thing is, your biggest expense is going to be rent, most likely, and you may not have much in the way of options on that. So, I mean, get cheap to get it as cheap as you can manage with that. But so I mean, probably the next biggest expense, again, not counting medical stuff, assuming you're in good health, probably be food. And there you have more leeway. I I guess just kind of look up like cheap healthy meals. I mean, because yeah, you can get stuff like ramen, but that's probably gonna work against your health in the long term. Uh, I mean, basically just having white flour or like I remember I would get like really cheap frozen burritos. Like, geez, they were so cheap. I think I get them for like 25 cents a frozen burrito that I microwave. Although that was like mid 2000s, so even just with inflation, that's gone up. But I'm probably still under $1. Yeah, somebody's saying yeah, learn to cook beans and rice. Yeah, I kind of hate cooking is my problem, but absolutely, if you're even remotely interested in cooking, just lean into it as hard as you can, because you'll come out way ahead as far as economical meals that can be healthier. Let's see. Yeah, somebody's. Yeah, well, the chat's offering stuff here. Yeah, potatoes, eggs. I don't know how healthy bacon is. I don't know how economical bacon is either. I never really bought bacon, so yeah, bacon's one of those things where I always just thought it was like okay. I know a lot of people are just like obsessed with it, and so when I learned that it maybe isn't the healthiest thing to eat, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just not eating. I tend to like bird meat, poultry more. That's more my. But yeah, I guess just look up economical healthy meals for another. I mean, for electricity and water, I mean, yeah, I guess you can take stuff like shorter showers, but that's probably not going to make a huge difference. Electricity, I mean, geez, I think even if you use a computer a lot, I think that might only be like a couple bucks per month more. I mean, it depends. If you're like cryptocurrency mining, yeah, you could probably drive it up, but just regular usage, I think probably not going to be a huge difference, even between like a not so power efficient system. But yeah, so the chat's offering food food options. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, at some point, there's only so many things you can cut, and that's when it gets really rough because then there aren't easy answers. You basically have to change your entire situation. Because again, rent's usually number one cost. So yeah, well, I mean, see, this is just assuming you're not spending it on. Yeah, get used to free games, I guess, or yeah, maybe you're someone who should be getting on board the free game a week train. Well, here, there's a website I've been using. Here, I'll give you the link to it. Indiegamebundles.com, and they have a free game section. I found it's one of the best sources for announcing like free game giveaways. Or you could be like me, do a bunch of abandonware stuff. So yeah, stop buying games. really try to stop running movies. But basically try to just eradicate your entertainment budget and see how far you can go on free. Don't like try. Well, I guess this is less of a problem now with the pandemic, but in the past, I would say basically never eat out. Uh, if it's may not be an option for you, but if it is, if you can do without a car, that's a big that cuts out your expense because not only do you have gas and maybe car repairs, but then you also have insurance that you can eradicate. But that may not be the that may not be realistic. That depends on your situation. You know, it's there's some other, but yeah, just you can go farther than you might think with like kind of limited entertainment, especially if you have a computer. You know, you can get a lot. Yeah, well, somebody's mentioning books at the library. Yeah, that's an option. There's there's a lot of classics you can just even get online now. But yeah, I guess the books are even more economical because then you don't have the power cost for reading it electronically. Yeah, it past a certain point, it's really depends on your situation, and you may simply just there's some situations where there really isn't a good answer for that for certain income levels, and you might be in a long-term no-win scenario. So either if this is a temporary thing, maybe you can find ways to get through it by cutting corners. Otherwise, well, I mean, geez, that was these are rough questions for it because like I'm stressed. This is like making me stress out thinking about it because I know how it can get, and it's you yeah, well, okay, yeah, that's my final tip. The half joke from the Cult Tycoon episode. If it gets too extreme, look up yeah. If it's too extreme, you can look up the what Fellowship for Intentional Communities site. Yeah, the Intentional Communities website, where you may not need any money, but as long as you're willing to do a bunch of farm work, yeah, there might be a place out there for you. And of course, uh, if you're eligible, there's the military is kind of that's one way a lot of people can kind of get out of. But then you're signing up for 4 years, so that's kind of, you might want to that one's kind of a last resort option for a lot of people, I would think. So, um, but yeah, check out that Intentional Communities website if your situation is getting real desperate. There are options out there you may not be aware of. It's just that you might have to get it may have to be really not what you were expecting your life heading. So yeah, that's the advice I would give. You know, budget to keep your life in order the best you can. But if things are really not working, it's not hopeless. There are still options. Yeah, actually, I'll mention this. A friend of mine was telling me about this. That they saw a Twitter post of this person who just desperately needed dental care, and they didn't know how they were going to get it, and like the waiting line was ridiculous. There's this, even this though would require having some money though, but if this is like a long-term planning thing, you can. Though there's this thing called dental tourism for people in the United States, especially where you can basically cross the border in Mexico and then you can get reasonable dental care prices. Yeah, there was this. What's the name of this town? Um, it was Lost something. I want to get the name of this town right. Oh yeah, I might be mispronouncing this. It's Los Algodones, and like I think the ratio the the ratio of dentists in that town is like might be like the highest in the world. What was Los Algodones? I'm trying to see dentist ratio. Let's see if I can find. But yeah, that's a big one there. But yeah, so that's what I mean. There is stuff like this out. There may be, uh, there may be more options out there than you realize. So it's just that you might have to really step really take your life in a different direction than you were thinking, I guess. So. Okay, yeah, in the chat, somebody's mentioning hospitals have a charity care program where if you make a certain amount, hospitals must forgive your debt. It's probably different state by state. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, well, okay, well, I should keep moving on. I don't want. Okay, so I might start picking questions now. Yeah, well, this is a good one. I don't know if I have a great answer though. They're saying, "Hi, you've showed us your ideas of your dream software. What is your dream hardware?" Well, hardware is pretty great in a lot of ways, but yeah, I haven't had as much time to think about. I think really good VR might actually check off a whole lot of boxes. Because what we want is let's get real. What we want is the holodeck. Yeah, because then you can just customize to whatever level you want. And I think VR kind of gets you there. Actually, I saw a video. Microsoft had a new announcement about their augmented reality, and I'm still not sure if I'm on board with that for gaming, but for productivity, I could see where that might open up a lot of options. That might be good for like just general workflow and like educate. Yeah, trust not Microsoft. Don't worry. I don't trust them, but yeah, don't worry. I do not trust Microsoft. However, I can still see if they're making advancements. I'm not completely blinded by my bias. So, and it was hilarious because in the promo video, they had like the head of this department talking about it. And I swear to God, he looks like the actor who played the bad guy in Hackers, the movie. What was it? It's like, his name's like Fisher Stevens. Yeah, Fisher Stevens. Like maybe I can find a, yeah, maybe you can get on it early. Yeah, what was the guy's name? Oh, I forget the guy's name. I looked it up, but yeah, he looks incredibly similar to him. I mean, his voice is a little different, but so the guy in charge of the mixed reality or augmented reality division, or at least the spokesperson, looks just like the villain in Hackers. Man, I wish I got his name. I want to say it was like. I'm too hazy on what his name was. But yeah, I guess if we were gonna get something a little more conventional, yeah, I mentioned before I wouldn't mind a desk designed by Doc Ock from Spider-Man, where I could hit a button, it goes into like streaming mode. Hit another button that goes into like racing mode. Have the steering wheel come out. Another button just go into like general work. I bet you could get something kind of modular like that. It wouldn't even have to be motorized. You could just kind of move it as long as it would like. You could have like a pulley track system that would just kind of slide into place. Yeah, and if you want to see something, I don't know how good this would be or not, but it certainly looks interesting. Look up, what was it, Thronos? I think it was like Ace. Yeah, Predator Thronos, I think is what we're. Maybe I'll have a link. I should write down some of the stuff I'm talking about. There's some, yeah, all-in-one gaming chair. Yeah, you can look that up. That's a. I'm not sure if that would be a fun experience. It would be interesting, but I'm not sure I want to use that long term or not. So yeah. Look up the Predator Thronos. Thronos here. Okay, I'll go through some more questions, but yeah, I guess I don't have as many specific things. Well, okay, yeah, for Dream Harder, I'll say this. Maybe this already exists. After doing the GUI video, I'm definitely, yeah, I had kind of a contradiction there that I had by accident when I was talking. Well, I'll get into that in the follow up, but short version is I wouldn't mind some more options for like keypad control panels. Like I'd like the, I almost am toying with the idea of like how practical would it be if you had like one of those sim flight control panels with switches and everything, except you don't use that for gaming. You're just using that for just general control. So if you hit a switch that turns on this program, yeah, almost like a classic Star Trek interface where they're hitting buttons and switches. I wouldn't because yeah, you have a lot of keys on the keyboard, but they're not really designed for like maximum ergonomics or just having a lot of extra functions. And the layout I'd say isn't ideal for anything besides typing. So I wouldn't mind like seeing some more like really robust control panels where you start memorizing like layouts and just something that kind of had like a more friendly layout, you know. Well, see, somebody's saying L cars. I don't think I'd want the next generation one because you don't get the tactile feedback. You know, I'm thinking more like 60s, 80s, or 60s kind of just sci-fi generic control panel where you're like hitting the button, burp, 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 you know. They could still be keyboard style. It's just it wouldn't be in a normal keyboard arrangement. You know, it would be more like something you're meant to use like one hand on. And I mean, there's a few, but yeah. Taryn from RTT has a lot of tutorials just about that. Yeah, and you wouldn't want the buttons mixed up with like normal functions. So like you want them to be like their standalone thing. And then you could have like your thumb be like a shift function. So if you hit that and then hit another key, then it turns into a different array of things you get. As long as it's ergonomic. If it's too much of a reach and feels awkward, then just I would scrap that. But yeah, and I'd like more. I'd like a lot more exotic designs for mice. I still haven't found a mouse that I totally like. I think we could get them way more ergonomic. But okay, so answer some more questions. If I could, yeah, there we go. Okay, well this had points, so I'm surprised. I'll answer this quick. They're saying Ross, do you like Polish mayonnaise? No, in fact, actually below this, it's do you like garlic? I like garlic, all right. I mean, not raw, but I mean straight. But I was thinking, with me, like you know how like you know in stories vampires can't handle garlic. I'm like that with vinegar. I hate anything with vinegar. So I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like mustard. I don't like ketchup. When I was young, when I was little, I used to think I was just a really picky eater. I thought, wow, this kind of sucks. I don't like so many food. Like, what's wrong with me? And then I realized, oh no, I like all kinds of food. I just hate vinegar. So yeah, salad dressing is another one. So um, I've just never I've always hated it. So yeah, vinegar to me is like garlic to vampires. So I like garlic fine, but so yeah, that's definitely affected like what I eat. So yeah, I can tell I'm the odd man out on this. I know, but yeah, I just hate vinegar, and I'm thinking, and this is reminding me of this scene in the movie. I think it's called Harsh Times. There's Christian Bale in it. It's pretty good. It's got tone wise. It's kind of like the movie Training Day, but in the movie he's trying to apply. I think it's for Homeland Security, and he has to do a drug test, but he smoked a joint earlier because he thought he was eliminated from this program. It turns out he's not. So he wouldn't have done it if he had known. But so he's got he's got to try to pass the drug test. So he looks up a tip. I have no idea if this is accurate or not, but apparently he thinks that he can maybe fly by if he just completely flushes out his system. So he just drinks like a bottle of straight vinegar to try to try to give himself a pass on the drug test. Yeah, that's a pretty good movie if you haven't seen it. Harsh Time. If you like training, if you like the movie Training Day, definitely check out Harsh Times. It's a very similar vibe. Yeah, okay, Sasha. Would you collaborate with Eric from Internet Common Etiquette? Yeah, if he wanted me. I actually saw one video of him where, was it Boogie2988 was with, and it felt a little forced. So I would really try hard to kind of play into whatever. Like I wouldn't want to feel out of place at all. It's just like, okay, here's some random guy showing up talking about things. Okay, bye. Like, you know, I would like, you know, when you have a crossover, sometimes it feels a little staged. I would really try to lean into whatever the vibe was for his video. But yeah. Let's see what's next. If you're forced to live in a desert country, which one do you choose? I wasn't sure if this was a cheat option, but I might go with Australia. I mean, it's not all desert, but it sure has a whole lot of desert. But yeah, well, I guess we'll see. If at some point I want to play Forza Horizon 3. That one takes place in Australia, though that one's been delisted. So that one's, and I think it only works on some versions or old versions of Windows 10. So that one's going to be a real challenge if you want to play that on PC. Yeah. There is no legal way to play Forza Horizon on PC if you don't, Forza Horizon 3 on PC if you don't already own it. So yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's. Again, this is why I do not trust Microsoft. Yeah, they delisted it. This is last year or the year before, I think. Yeah, someone's asking about favorite first-person shooter mechanic. I mean, you know this. This is the sort of thing where like different people play games for different reasons. I'm actually fine with a total generic first-person shooter if the settings really interesting, or maybe there's a cool story to go with it, or just interesting enemies, or just good map layout. It's like I know some people I know just get bored with games unless it has some new mechanic they've never seen before. Whereas I'm fine with kind of clones of existing games as long as you're giving me like a fresh setting or storyline or something like that. So I don't know, for first person shooter mechanics, I'm just fine with just the general concept, Says the guy who got bored of Wolfenstein for no reason. Well, that was the setting, I think. I didn't get bored of New Order. I don't think it was the gameplay difference in New Order that made that one. Yeah. I mean, geez, I'm rusty on it now, but like it wasn't like I was getting bored until you get like the mechanical suit. I thought the story was like really keeping things fresh, I mean, what was the gameplay in New Order drastically different from the gameplay in Wolfenstein 2009? I kind of feel like it wasn't, but it's just like we had a much better story, like better maps, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't, I'm rusty on it. Like, see, that's the thing. I don't really remember all the. Okay, yeah, I guess you have like that climbing section at the beginning, but that was the sort of that I don't know. Yeah, that wasn't really what was drawing me into it. I had mixed feelings on that because I found that kind of a little annoying. However, it was really cool to see. So it was kind of like mixed feelings on the climbing section at the beginning of New Order. Yeah, I mean, there might have been some like unlockable stuff, but I don't even remember it. So I just remember, yeah, like when I think of the game, like I'm thinking of like the story moments where he's waking up and he's thinking like, oh, I have to join the resistance, or like the kind of the level where you get stopped at the checkpoint. I think it was kind of foggy, and then you're like on a skyscraper later, and you go to the moon, and then just the whole concept of like this alternate reality, 60s with the Nazis have taken over, like, or so that those are the parts I'm remembering more than. Uh, I'm not remembering gameplay mechanics. I just remember it being a first-person shooter. So that kind of says it. But yeah, I might talk about that one some in a future game dungeon, or maybe a follow-up. Okay, so I'm kind of. I hadn't heard of this, but I'll mention. Have you seen how some EA games on Steam haven't been playable for weeks due to a CD key issue that journalists, Valve, and EA aren't talking about? No, I haven't, but I can believe it. So. Has there ever been a game you quit because it flat out looks so revolting? Maybe. It would have to be one where like the lighting is just so god awful. And by awful, I don't mean like, oh, the shadows are off. I'm talking about like, it's just like this, everything is just like this dull gray, and not in like an artistic kind of film noir kind of way, but just ugly, like really. I'm trying to. I think these might have been mods I was thinking of. Even then, if the game was really redeeming in other areas, I might still stick with it, but it would be a mark against it. Okay, I'm going to skip some more questions. Some of these were asked before. Are there any games you enjoy as a calming meditative activity? They're saying like Flower or Journey. I haven't played either of those, so I should probably play Journey eventually. I know a bunch of people mention that one. I'll probably check out that Abzu game, or however it's pronounced. It has the accent marks on the letters where I don't know what the accent mark means and how you should pronounce it. I'm just going to say Abzu. Actually, I know at some points when I've been for a while, I was playing a little bit of like an online version of, well, it was online. It wasn't really online. It was against the computer, but they wanted you to connect online. Was it one of the versions of Magic the Gathering? I mean, I just would do that for like 10 minutes. That was something I could do to kind of, wasn't like a deep gameplay thing for me, but I could play a little bit of that. But I tend to kind of brush aside those kinds of most kind of like chill games, and I kind of want to go more for like the adventure kind of experience, and just the time I would spend chilling, just do other stuff, Do you play chess? I haven't played in forever. I actually won an award when I was like in third grade. But the thing about chess is, my understanding is you can get to be a really good player, and then after that, you basically have to like start memorizing different chessboard positions to advance beyond that. And I don't know, that memorizing sequences or thinking like 20 steps moves ahead or something, that stuff's being fun like for me. What really replaced chess for me was strategy games, like real-time strategy stuff, because then you can have the conditions change on the fly, and you have to come up with a fresh strategy for what you were trying. And I don't know, I find that a lot more engaging for me. Yeah, somebody's saying the Freeman's Mind rant about chess is 100% accurate. It's Yeah, I mean it does. You, you need to have certain specialized ways with how your brain works to get really good at chess. And again, a lot of it can be memorization, and that's a little bit different than just trying to come up with like new solutions to things. Where was like with a strategy game, like I'd like to see even more variables, like like weather affecting things or terrain. I think they had some of that in what was it? How am I? Was it Total Annihilation? I think the terrain affected things there, or then like the wind speed would change your power output. That's like I kind of like having these kind of like wild card variables thrown up at you so that you can't plan everything ahead. You just have to like adapt to different situations. That's What do you think of games that subvert interactivity or even fun in the name of an artistic goal? Mentions The Longing. I don't even know that one. Stanley Parable, Journey, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, Spec Ops: The Line. Well, Spec Ops didn't really sacrifice interactivity, but I thought it was relatively fun gameplay wise. But yeah, maybe not the story, obviously. But um, well, I'm okay with that. However, it just kind of depends. I mean, if it's really you're kind of putting, I'd say as a developer, you're kind of gambling that people are still going to want to buy your game and not just watch a playthrough. Oh, yeah. Like a good example of this is actually, I think it's free right now on Indiegala. The game Press X to Not Die. It's a full motion video game. It's basically just quick time events for the gameplay. However, the game is the game's a lot of fun. I thought it does a lot of, it has a real sense of humor to it, and then you have decisions that you make in that. I mean, they're minor stuff that. So it's like the game was fun, even though we're talking really basic gameplay. The acting and writing was pretty funny. It's the sort of thing where I would kind of prefer to play this myself, even though I could probably get 90% of the experience watching a playthrough. So if you're really knocking it out of the park as far as the mood of your game, then I think it's fine. But that one came to mind. Yeah, if you like full motion video games, like especially ones that are kind of cheesy, like definitely go grab it. It's at Indiegala. Uh, let's see. Assuming I think it's still free. I found out about it from that indie game bundles site. But yeah. Somebody's talking about Night Trap. It has that kind of mood towards it. And the gameplay is just quick time events, pretty much. But yeah, I had a clip of that game in the cave story where if you screw up trying to lock your door, he just like crashes his keys against the door. He's like, come on, I can do this. Yeah, like your very first decision is some guy is saying that it's been overrun by people. And it's like that crappy M. Shyamalan movie. And then like your first decision is you have to guess the title of the movie that he's thinking of. And he's like, what? And you're like, The Village? He's like, no, the other one. And then you mentioned another one. And it's like, he's thinking of The Happening. And he's like, this pause, like, yes, that is it. And then I think you could mention something like The Little Mermaid. He's like, no, what? Yeah, like, so you get these different reactions. It's that kind of goofy game. But yeah. Well, Stanley Parable was pretty funny, too. So, I guess I haven't played the others besides Spec Ops. If it's like real dramatic, I'm probably just gonna pass altogether. I don't know. That's just not what I go for in games. Well, actually, this made me think. Somebody's saying, "What is the best game you would recommend to a psychopath?" I've heard psychopaths can actually develop some level of empathy if they actually experience like things inflicted on them. So they might actually be a good candidate for playing something like this War of Mine, or so, from what little I know of the game, something where you really are the victim of something. So maybe that kind of give them a chance to develop some like template morality to operate off of, you know. Let's see. Ross, in your Oils Old video, you say that our civilization is dying a slow death because of resource depletion. I don't know if I said that exactly, but yeah, there's truth to that for sure. What are your thoughts on the future of humanity now in 2021? Any reason to hope for a better future? If not, how do you prepare for it? Well, I kind of talked about that in the third follow-up video. You know, the fog of badness. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And you personally could have a good future. Collectively, I think we're really kind of burning a lot of our future away. I mean, I wasn't kidding in, was it the Robot Jobs video where I said, you know, if I had to guess what the future most looks like, it would be something like Soylent Green. You know, minus the actual Soylent Green part, everything else that future portrays, I think, could be quite plausible. I mean, I guess the difference is you might have more of a stratification where you might continue seeing amazing technology developments at the same time. There's a lot of destitute conditions for the majority of people, but it's, yeah, I mean, like in the movie, you know, there's a lot of food shortages. You know, I need to read the book that's based off of. The ecosystem's kind of collapsing. The police, basically all they do is just basically either solve crimes related to rich people or just riot control. I mean, they don't have the resources to do much else, and they pretty much help themselves to the spoils. Yeah, there's a raw kind of rampant overpopulation. I mean, I think it's I think that's quite plausible. You know, I mean, yeah. Well, I'm not as cynical as CIA in the chat there. No, that's not the only way to live. However, the worse we create conditions, the amount of people who can do well, it's musical chairs. It's musical chairs. That decreases. No, I mean, I think humanity is capable of anything it wants to do within the laws of physics. However, that's if we want to do it, you know, and if the will isn't there and we're being kind of self-destructive, then that's what we're going to get. So, no, I mean, hey, as a retort to I'm CIA, there is like everyone else going to hell and then just living for you. I like the ending of the movie. Was it The Box? I think I mentioned in the Bip Bop episode. I think the ending line is, that's the one where the people are given a choice between $100 or $1 million, but they're going to press a button and someone they don't know is going to die. And then, like at the end of the movie, you're saying, well, enough people are just going to have to not press the button. I thought that was a great, as far as like a moral message. That movie's pretty cool too. It's like surreal mystery, sci-fi horror kind of thing. So it's definitely one worth watching if you like that sort of thing. Yeah, of course there might be a million movies named The Box. Which year was it? 2009. That's the one. Okay, a few more questions, and I'll take live ones. Oh yeah, somebody was asking if I could terraform a planet, how would it look? The landmass look? I should also take into account how humans will be distributed. Well, I mean, it just depends on how many you have. I mean, I would want lots of vegetation. I don't know if I would probably want like a variety of different environments, but I would go vegetation nuts. I was actually thinking of this. It was this sort of mini series I saw. I think it's based off a book. I think it was called Riverworld or something, where I think the plot is like people die and they wake up in this maybe afterlife, and in it, it's basically just kind of like endless rivers and like mountainous, forested mountains, and it looked interesting. The portrayal of that. I'm not sure that would be the best choice, but it was an interesting concept terrain wise, uh, for River World. That it's oh yeah, people were talking about like the people care more than you think. Yeah, you know what? As for it's easy to get cynical, and for some, I think for many reasons it's valid. As far as humanity caring or not caring, I actually think the vast majority of humanity is basically good. They just kind of go with the flow. And what the thing is, you have like a small percentage of really bad actors that can kind of steer the whole course of how society and civilization goes. So you might think everyone's heartless and doesn't care and is just in it for themselves, but I think that's not really how it is. It's just that's the well, speaking of rivers, it's like the way if you carve out a path, you can kind of know how water's going to flow. So I think humanity is just really poor at stopping bad actors who just kind of want to destroy it directly or indirectly. Yeah, like we're humanity is awesome at really direct threats. So if some guy's coming at you with a knife, yeah, we're really good at solving that kind of problem. With police and putting them away. But if it's somebody who wants to like undermine our food production capacity in 30 years, and just we're not so good at preventing that. We're pretty poor at that. So yeah, I think most people are basically good, or within human within normal parameters. If you put them in like really hard decisions ethically, yeah, they may not make great choices. But if you want them to just not murder their neighbor, or steal if they're having all their needs met, I think it's better than you might think. So. But if that's not where society's being steered, then you're going to get different results. Okay. But yeah. No, the terraforming question is a good one. I guess I would want to, I think for the terraforming, I might want to see like a list of options and would probably pick from that. But yeah, the river world terrain was interesting. I hadn't seen anything like that. There might be places like that in China where you have like rivers, but then you have like these real large kind of forested hillsides everywhere, that sort of thing, where the rivers really fork off. Okay, so let's see. But I like all kinds of environment. Again, I am desert. I do have an anti-desert bias, though some deserts can still be cool. But like as long as there's some vegetation, I can like all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, do you think the CIA has a file on you, or do you think you're too obscure for that? It's hard to say. I think if they have a file on me, they probably have a file on millions of people. So if they do, then yeah, I probably. But I'm not. I would think they're smart enough to realize I'm not much of a threat. I could see after making the Deus Ex episode, like I might have been like, who knows what the CIA's watching, I could see where I like triggered enough buzzwords to get on some sort of list. Actually, this was years back, but back when I was returning from Poland to the United States, I went through the general, what's the word, receiving process, with passport and everything. And then I got flagged for a separate line where they wanted to ask you more questions and then go through your luggage. And that one just took hours to go through. And most people didn't have to go through that one. And take what you will from it, I noticed I was the only white person in that line. It was a couple dozen people. So maybe I am flagged for something. I think that kind of speaks more to that there probably was some racial profiling going on then. Yeah, there was one guy in front of me who was really pissed about that. I was just sort of annoyed because, I mean, this is like an extra 2 hours in the airport just to even get on top of like the hour or hour and a half. What on top of that? So that makes me think that like since I was flagged to just have the extra check, maybe I am on some sort of like level of list. But yeah, it's what? Okay, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, who knows? It's the CIA. Who knows what they're doing? Like, maybe I'm CIA can weigh in in the chat there. Okay, I'm skipping a few more. I think this question got answered last time. Oh yeah, I was asking the difference between Gold Source and the Source engine for doing the original Half-Life, and the reply has it right. You bet I wanted the ragdoll physics. There were some real minor advantages with Source exporting the frames to video, but that sort of got erased as the that sort of got erased as the resolution got higher, because then the file size. The process was similar between Gold Source and Source Engine. Who knows which one has more bugs? Are there any games that you love the setting atmosphere of but wish they could have different gameplay? Probably hundreds. So, well, hey, you're gonna a bit more of a hint. You're gonna see some of that in the next episode, in that next game dungeon. Now that Stadia's first-party studios are shutting down, what does this mean for the future of game streaming? Best case scenario, companies are abandoning it and deciding it's not really going to be worth it. I doubt that, though. Worst case scenario probably just means a temporary chilling effect, and then they'll be right back at it later. So, again, I have zero issues with game streaming. What I have issue with is streaming exclusives, because then you're ensuring it dies. Unless we get something real exotic like with the Dream software, and a lot of work turning it into a game on top of that. Okay, somebody's asking me to choose just 3 games to get a perfect VR adaptation. I feel like it would take me hours to choose like just 3. There's too many worlds I want to see. Is your workflow dependent on any sort of stimulants or routines? I was saying like caffeine, whiskey, cigarettes. Yeah, and a scale from Hunter S. Thompson to enlightened Buddhist, where would you place yourself? So okay, I guess I try to avoid caffeine unless I'm trying to avoid it altogether now for the most part. I would sometimes like have some chocolate or something when I was doing like just the all-nighter stuff, but I hate doing that. So I'm really trying to step away from that. So if Hunter S. Thompson is a 1 and Enlightened Buddhist is a 10, I don't know, I might be around 6, something around there. I have an off and on addiction to sweets. So again, I'm kind of like a smoker who's trying to quit like a dozen times, I don't smoke, don't have alcohol, try to avoid caffeine, but yeah, I can get tempted by sweets like cookies, cake, that sort of thing. That's not really part of my routine. In fact, it's a conundrum because I actually focus and do better work off of it. However, if I'm on it, the transition from getting back off to it it gets pretty intense, and that can just wreck my focus. So that's like an ongoing like struggle with me. Routine. I do try to exercise almost every single day, like aerobic exercise. Mostly been doing hikes now when I probably get a vaccine, I'll probably go back to doing running. Well, I'll be less worried about passing by people. Uh, I kind of need that to just think clearly. I tend to, like, you know how dogs are when they haven't been walked and they're just going off the wall? That's how I am if I don't get regular exercise. So that really helps with focus. Let's see. But yeah, the thing about caffeine is it can kind of scramble your brain. Well, it can kind of scramble your thoughts a little bit. So it for me at least, it depends on how deep the thought I need to have on something is. Like if I need to figure out like a tricky editing scene where I'm thinking, okay, well, this is gonna pull from here, and I want to transition to this, then that would kind of torpedo it a bit. But if I need to do something like wash the dishes or something, sure, like caffeine's fine for that. So it's like if it's a task that doesn't require a lot of deep thinking, then caffeine can work. But yeah, I just try to. I prefer, since I have this luxury now, I prefer to just sleep when I'm tired. You know, that's. I'd rather just. Yeah, well, unfortunately, you're seeing some of the side effects now because it's been a couple months since I've had a video. But I'm hoping to make up for it. Like once the process really gets nailed down, I've had to figure out a lot of things with working with people remotely. Let's see. Okay, skipping a few more questions. Well, okay, I might answer this one. They're saying, "Are you proud of the work you have done so far?" It's really mixed because I feel like I'm not. Well, that's what the movie. I'll be proud of the movie. Put it like that. Other stuff. It's like I kind of see most of what I'm doing right now as a compromise between trying to make something that's not garbage versus getting something out in a time that I can sustain myself on it, and that you guys aren't wondering like what the hell is happening. I'd really. I mean, I think in order for me to be more proud, I have to get like more original ideas. But I feel like the movie will kind of redeem myself. So I was saying, would you consider streaming daily with a different game on your list every day? Sure, if I had no other ambitions. I mean, I want to make the movie, and if that went well, and I don't hate animating thoroughly by then, I have ideas for other things. I mean, the movie is just something that feels like it's more obtainable, you know. And the other stuff will be more of like an ongoing series thing, and that would create a different layer of work. So yeah, mixed feeling. I don't know if proud's the right word. I feel like I've done an honest effort to not make garbage videos for you guys. So that's the best thing I can say. Okay, skipping some more stuff. Or some people answered them already. Somebody's asking, have I played Deus Ex since your game dungeon on it? Sort of. I played a Total Conversion mod. Was it 2027? I think is the name of it. It's some year. I was really surprised how well it was put together. Yeah, I was kind of wanting that Deus Ex fix, but I had already played the game, so I figured, well, I'm pretty familiar with the game, so I wanted something different. And like the music was better. It's not up to Deus Ex level, but it's better than I was expecting, and the story was interesting enough, and the gameplay was good. So yeah, if you're hungry for more Deus Ex, check that out. There's a few more too. Did you ever play Swine? No, but I have heard of that. So I was saying the pig campaign is pretty tough. Okay. When do you think you'll have the follow-up to your GUI video? I originally wasn't even planning on making one, but there were a lot of developments and new thoughts since then that I will. It's a little lower priority. I want to get Freeman's Mine and Game Dungeon back on track first. And also, I'm waiting on this guy who's helping me with a skin for window blinds. If you want to help with that too, let me know, because right now I'm stuck on Windows 10 default and I kind of hate it. So I've also been slowly going through that Winamp skin museum for ideas on possible GUI designs, and there's definitely some good ones in there. So I want to have the follow up be worthy, you know. What what animal is your fursona, Ross? I don't know. Okay, I'm almost at the end here. Okay, well, I'll skip some. Okay, so I'll start taking some live questions. Some people already beat me to it. Let's see. Okay. Streaming a game with fans once a year. Yeah, I could maybe do that again. I just have to figure out what game I would probably enjoy doing the most. Also, okay, sorry. I'm going to have to pause the chat temporarily here. Whoa. Oh, boy. Span the game list to mainstream games. Maybe make it talk. Well, some of the games have been kind of mainstream. It just depends, you know. Can you try and remember what's the Deus Ex 27? It's actually, I think it's called 2027. Let's see. Yeah, 2027. Okay. Have you noticed any differences in the way you produce videos over the years stylistically? I haven't been paying too much attention. I just try to follow my instincts if I feel like something's not working well, if I can remember to fix that before the next video. So some of the videos got more rushed than I wanted them to. Favorite Fallout game if you played them? The first one. I haven't played 4 or 76. Any plans to play the Yakuza games? Maybe. I don't know. It's not top of my list for stuff I'm looking at. I'm afraid Yakuza is a lot farther down. Like I tend to like more kind of fantastic or sci-fi stuff. I mean, I can like kind of crime games too, though. It just I'm pickier on those. It's kind of similar with movies too. Like, what are your thoughts on the upcoming System Shock remake? I'm looking forward to it, especially since I've only played 2. I still need to play the original, so maybe I'll just cheat and go straight for the remake. Game Dungeon on Gothic series. I might. Well, I've only played the first 3 Gothic games. I haven't played Arcania and... That's right, they're remaking the first one. I forgot. I wasn't too impressed by the screenshots, but maybe I need to see more. It's like, yeah, the models are higher definition, but it was kind of losing the mood, I felt like. Is it okay for you to do a quick recap on the announcements? Just watch the beginning. There's Curtis Craig and I forget what else. And there was less clicking in the audio. Do you know Glory Hammer? No, I don't. Okay. If you could want a practical mode of transport or reality, what would it be? Oh, maybe you go, yeah, airship. Maybe go back to blimps. Yeah, Zeppelins. This looked awesome. Would you consider reviewing the Red Faction games? I still need to play through them. They're definitely on my 2 playlists. Yeah, with Red Faction, it was the sort of thing where like it was like a little bit sci-fi, not like heavy sci-fi. So that kind of, it got sort of pushed aside for me, for my taste, for other sci-fi strategy games at the time. Okay, so I was saying Slave of God is the best use of chromatic aberration. All right. Maybe I can look up some footage of that. Are you sure that was the real Curtis Craig? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I won't... he was referring to stuff. I actually managed to reply to him on Twitter. Yeah, Paul Morgan Stetler. And he was referring to stuff I mentioned, and it's if you were doing a spoof and trying to be him, pretend to be him, it wouldn't really make sense. And yeah, it all checked out. It all checked out. Dude, you've got to give that band a listen. That band. Okay, Gloryhammer's a band. Okay. Could you start a book club every month, couple months, tell us a game to try out or talk about? Oh, okay, a book club of games. Yeah, I can maybe do that. I mentioned Yuppie Psycho. Definitely watch a playthrough of it if you don't play it. It's awesome. Let's see. Well, yeah, I played Mother Gunship. That one was. This is like back in January. I enjoyed that one. It was okay. It was kind of goofy. The idea is you just craft all your weapons in that, and it's one that gives you a challenge. That's one where it's like the gameplay was keeping me playing more than anything else. The tone-wise, it was kind of goofy, maybe kind of a little bit like Borderlands. But gameplay was kind of like a roguelike arena shooter where they're just trying to throw everything at you and you're dodging a whole bunch. Yeah, I've heard I've heard it described as first-person shooter bullet hell, though I found it a lot easier than traditional bullet hell games. Yeah, I did hear about that. Did you hear Nevada passed a law for tech companies to run their own governments? Or we're getting the next stage of cyber dystopia. Yeah, I meant to say that last time because somebody was asking, or this is one of the questions, like, where do you think that, the future is going with like governments and yeah, that might be a direction it's heading. It's yeah, going back to company towns, and it reminded me of the song. What was the name of it? Oh, geez. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Oh, I forgot. Okay, they play it. If you've seen the movie Joe versus the Volcano, they play a cover of that at the beginning, and the song's great. Yeah, 16 tons. Yeah, somebody 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older, deeper in debt. And I remember I liked the cover a lot, and then I realized the guy who did the cover was like the Animals, who did like the main version of House of the Rising Sun. I love that song, so I might have to listen to more of the Animals. Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, this is what I mean. I bet the vast majority of people don't want tech companies as we know them now, for-profit tech companies running their own company towns, but that's where the legislation is getting pushed. So, that's what humanity is doing. Is not necessarily reflective of what most of humanity wants. Ever consider artificially upscaling your videos to minimize compression on YouTube? I don't know how much of a difference that really makes. I mean, maybe. Let's see. What do you think about Richard Wolff or Marx's critique of capitalism in general? I mean, I'd say the critiques, from what I know of it, are probably all true, but where do you go from there in a way that it doesn't just revert right back to where you were? I don't know. I mean, probably, I realize it's not the same thing as what Marx was advocating for, but the Soviet Union is probably as close as it got, and that didn't last. It got undermined and mutated into something else pretty drastically. So, but no, the critiques are probably pretty spot on. I mean, from what I know of it. Let's see. What do you think of Team Fortress 2? It's been invaded by cheaters for over a year now. I haven't played Team Fortress 2 in forever. The cartoonish feel kind of threw me off. I played a lot more of Fortress Forever, but even then, I'm not doing a lot of multiplayer these days. I've just been trying to like burn through this list of single player games. Trying like the game list. Yeah, the stuff on the game list that I have, I've been trying to go through. So. Let's see. Whoa, okay. Bill Gates recently had a 60 Minutes interview where he described many of the fundamental economic and ecological problems. Yet it has a ton of dislikes and people commenting feeling contempt for Bill Gates. Why do you think that is? There's could probably be a lot of... Bill Gates is like a real mix. Okay, Bill Gates has his own ideas on how to do things, and he's highly influential. He's a billionaire, and the impression I get from Bill Gates is he may have good intentions, but the implementation may not go. I learned something about him a few weeks ago. Okay, apparently the Bill and Melinda. Did you guys know? Okay, for the vaccine, I don't want to say the name of it because that might trigger actually, maybe even saying vaccine screwed up. But anyway, look this up for yourself. I checked multiple sources. The one developed by Oxford, they were planning to release it to the public. In other words, the entire world would have access to their version of the vaccine. And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation went in and convinced them to sell it to a major pharmaceutical company, sell all the rights to it to a pharmaceutical company instead. So that's not a very popular move, I would imagine. That's why I say there's like weird ideas of like what's going to help us. When we did the polio vaccine, they made that public, and I think a lot of people are happy that's where it went. So getting them to sell it to a major pharmaceutical company so they could squat on the rights to that version of it, when Oxford was ready to release it to the public, so they went and talked them into not doing that. I'm not sure what they said to them, but that's not. So I can see where that could get like a lot of resentment. I don't know many details about it, but my understanding is he kind of messed with like the education system a bunch in the past in ways that kind of led to worse results. And I guess the other part of it, I think in addition to like legitimately bad stuff that he's done, I think there's also some conspiracy theories. Like I've heard one that they want the vaccine to implement microchips. I'm thinking, I don't think that's likely, for some sort of weird agenda, if you're really paranoid about that sort of thing, you could probably you need specialized equipment, might need to contact a university or something, but you could find out. You could detect and that just seems wacky to me. I think that's more in like moon landing, fake, Earth is flat kind of territory. So I think there's some resentment on that, but with now I lost a lot of the comments. But yeah, look up. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation convinced a vaccine to be available to public around the world to just get bought up by a pharmaceutical company instead. So. Somebody's asking about the hunger for change different this time. How is it different this time than it was 10, 12 years ago with the financial crisis, 2008? Well, the financial crisis is way bigger this time. Way bigger. I feel like we haven't even felt the full effects of it yet. So, where that takes us, again, I'm in the fog of badness here. So, thoughts on indies and middle-sized studios picking up the slack from AAA games after they've disappointed the main audience, like City Skylines. I think it's awesome. I think we're seeing lots of stuff that, a lot of niche genres that people have been hungry for, and now they're getting it. I mean, yeah, my list of stuff, that's mostly just kind of mid-tier level games. I mean, the main like AAA title I can think of two I'm interested in, like Cyberpunk 2077. I know a lot of people said it's not bad, but I've said it's not that good, but I'm coming in kind of blind, so I think I'll have less to be disappointed by. And what was it? Test Drive Solar Crown. Yeah, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Just a giant rate. Well, yeah, okay. I guess I'm not interested in multiple rate driving ones. That's driving games still haven't disappointed too badly sometimes for AAA stuff. See, for me, if the car is remotely controllable and I really like the environment, then great, I'm in. Like for a driving game. So again, I'm interested in the Forza Horizon games. I haven't been interested in some of the newer Need for Speed games, and they like the tin everything, but yeah, let's see. Whoa, lost it again. What should I get for lunch? I don't know, man. Whatever you want. Like, well, I like Mexican food. Did you ever take a look at the They Hunger Lost Souls leak? No, I didn't know it got leaked. I remember seeing some screenshots from mid 2000s, and then like I never heard of it again. Okay. Previously said the current tech companies will put Standard Oil to shame. Size influence. What did I say that? I feel like we have like a minor mutation of something I said. Oh, okay. In terms of influence, yeah. I mean, I don't know if. Oh, okay. Yeah, with Standard Oil. Well, Standard Oil. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's kind of hard. It's it's a little more nuanced than that, but do you think we missed the ship to antitrust to get our lives back from all the megacores? On our current trajectory, yes, but that can change. That would be the best answer I could give. So, I mean, if we're having company towns, that means we're not moving in the right direction for giving less corporate control. Yeah, if you're interested in the kind of company, a little less dystopian version of the company town thing, check out that book I mentioned, The Oath of Fealty. I thought it was a very plausible take on kind of an arcology. Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is good. Don't let the negative Nancy's tell you otherwise. Yeah, on PC Gamer, they had this article where they listed all the features that were in like the promotional material that aren't in the game. And I was about to read it, but I thought, wait a minute. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's missing from the game. I just want to go in blind and just enjoy the world of it. So, how's progress on the movie? We're getting a shift. Yeah. So now that I know, I forgot to mention that. So now that I know that my issue with creating character models is probably going to solve itself with the tools Epic's making. I mean, we have some fallbacks. There's Make Human, but the models from what I was seeing, it wasn't winning me over. And there was a tool by like iClone or Reallusion that I wasn't sure how flexible it was going to be. But it sounds like the Metahuman might be the way to go. So I'm having to fight my instincts and not focus on what I think is going to be the most difficult part first, because that's normally what I do with huge projects. So I'm going to be switching gears more towards just base kind of nuts and bolts on real stuff and slowly shift towards the art direction and figuring out the scenes and that sort of thing. It just probably won't get too deep into the animation yet, but it's like complete track shift from what I'm working on the movie on now. And I'm hoping the rest will kind of come to meet me with it. Are you looking forward to the end of the pandemic? Any special plans? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly when it's going to end. It might be like a real gradual slope thing because in addition to the vaccines, what I've heard is this may end up having to be something that you have to get yearly, like, kind of like a flu shot. And I was thinking, oh man, this could take a while to burn out then. And I think the economic damage is probably, I've heard a speculation. Even this, I think, might be overly optimistic because it may not account other variables. But assuming what I heard from one economist is they're predicting like the economic impact of this is going to be about 30 years. And I think that could be optimistic. So, well, yeah, and even then, like even the best vaccines, they're only 92% effective. So you're like, if you're like in a risks, if your demographics are in a more riskier spot, you might still want to play it safe. So it's going to have a chilling effect a long time. So it's going to be like a gradual slope of being over, I think. I mean, we'll have a kind of like an exponential curve, For special plans, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we might visit some things, but I mean, I want to start running again. That's a little more. I mean, I don't really enjoy running. It's just that's more time efficient than hiking for getting my exercise in. What do you think of high skill ceilings in games? I've gotten into Age of Empire 2 again. I can't plan any difficulty under hard. I'm total. I mean, it depends on what the developer wants for their audience. For me personally, I appreciate it when developers include some way for me to get to the end of the game. So if I have to play on like very easy, fine. There's going to be a little bit of that in the next game. I'm giving away too much. All right, and I'm fine with however hard they want to make it. But I appreciate it when like a normal gamer can get to the end of the game with just a reasonable amount of effort, rather than like replaying the same exact segment. They have to memorize things that are coming like 20 times. So, I think we talked about photogrammetry for the modeling in the last chat. But or it means for the movie? No, I probably won't do it for the movie. It's not going to have that level of. I want it to be real obvious. This is like a game. I'll probably be stealing a lot of assets from existing games. I mean, I'll be giving credit, obviously. I'm too far behind on who are the metalheads out there on YouTube. Sorry, I need to catch up on music. Okay, I answer a couple more, then I think I'm done. Let's see. Is there a chance it'll be released before you reach Nova Prospect and Freeman's Mine 2? Probably not. Sorry, it's huge. This is kind of why Civil Protection got shelved, because it just takes so much time for animation, and I'm kind of developing different assets, so it's good. Are there any good Mexican places in Poland? There's one okay place, but I'll say this: I didn't really enjoy for the time I was there living in LA, but as far as Mexican food goes, you were spoiled for choice. They had every kind you could imagine. So, all right, I'll end it on that. Videos are coming, I promise. Sorry they're taking so long. I hope this leads to them coming out faster. So I'll keep working on things either way. So you can count on that. So that's about the best I can do at the moment. All right, I'll see you.